Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel. I am that doll collector and my name is Lisa. Thank you so much for choosing to watch my video today. I hope you'll stick around and see what I all have in store for you in this video. Today I just thought that I would do a little change in chat, and we're going to also participate in a tag that is hosted by Becca over at Becca's Happy Place. She does a tag on Friday called Are You Ready Friday? And what that is you dress any of your babies in the color red for Friday. So we're going to do that. Today I have two dolls that I'm going to dress. They are my manufactured August sculpts. I have an August asleep and an August awake. And I thought that we would dress them for that theme. And then also, Becca does another series on her channel. On Saturdays, she does what she calls Rocking with Becca. And in the last one, she had 5 questions that she invited anyone to answer on their channel. So I'm going to also be doing that while I change my dolls for Are You Ready Friday. Okay, so this first doll here, I named this is a boy, and I named him Elon. And Elon is obviously, as you can see, he's the August Asleep manufactured sculpt. I purchased him, or adopted him, I should say, from Amazon. And most people have this doll. I've seen it in the doll community quite a bit, and most of them have this doll as a girl, and it does make a very pretty girl. But when I looked at this doll, for some reason, even though he has lots and lots of curly black hair, I just kept seeing boy. So I did trim his hair a little bit, and I think he makes a really cute little boy also. So let me show you what we're going to get him dressed in today for Are You Ready Friday? Okay. So what we're going to put him in is something just really simple. It's this little red onesie. And on the front of it, it has different colored letters, and it spells out every day is an adventure. And it has white letters, dark blue letters, gray letters on a really pretty bright red background. So, okay, so let's get into these questions that Becca wanted us to answer. The first question she had was, what do you find most rewarding about the doll hobby? Okay, so what I find most rewarding is all the things that I have learned. I've been collecting dolls all my life. All different kinds of dolls from the time I was a little girl. And in my younger years, you just collect and you just play with your dolls. But in the past few years lately, past couple years, I guess, I've learned a lot mostly about like the different types of sculpts, and also how to care for your dolls, or how to fix your dolls, where to get new bodies, how to fix if they get dye transfer. And to me, that has been the most rewarding, because you not only, when you collect, sometimes things can happen to your dolls, and you don't know what to do. And just by being in this hobby and watching a lot of different YouTubers, and also being in a Facebook group, I've learned so much. So for me, that is the most rewarding. So question number 2, how long have you been collecting dolls? Okay, so I think I kind of already partially answered this one. And before I get into that more, we got little Elon all dressed for Are You Ready Friday. I'm going to swap him out and bring on his sister. Okay. So this is the August Awake sculpt, obviously. And this doll is also a manufactured doll from Amazon. She was a gift from Robert, and my boyfriend Robert. And this doll, when I opened her up, I thought, oh my gosh, she is so detailed. The camera probably doesn't pick it up very well, but she has so much modeling and veining on her, and her little face is so realistic. I was really amazed by her when I first saw her. I pierced her little ears, and I did swap out her body because I thought her body was too small. And see, and that's one of the things that I learned being in this hobby is if you don't like something like that, you can a lot of times change it, and that's been so awesome. Okay, so let me show you what we're going to get her dressed in for Are You Ready Friday. I'm going to put this little red t-shirt on her, and then over it I'm going to put this little jean skirt, and then we're going to put this little white hair bow headband, and I wanted some red, and I didn't have any hair bands with red. So what I do a lot of times is I'll just clip on a little bow onto the headband somehow, and it looks cute and it works. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to put this on her with this. Okay. So how long have you been collecting dolls? Okay, well, I have been collecting all my life. Like I said, my grandmother loved dolls. My mom liked dolls too, but it was my grandmother that really loved dolls, and she mostly was the one, especially when I was little, that would buy me dolls, sew me clothes for my dolls. Actually, both my grandmothers sewed clothes for my dolls because they knew that I loved dolls so much. And then even as a teenager, I collected. I would get dolls for my birthday and for Christmas. That's what I would mostly ask for. If I would see one in, we would get our Christmas presents and gifts through catalogs, like the JCPenney catalog. And every time when the Christmas catalog would come, I would look through it, and if there was any kind of doll that looked somewhat realistic, I would want that doll. So, and then some of you, I haven't talked about this, but I was married at one point. I am now divorced, but I was married for 22 years. And even during my married life, my ex-husband, he was supportive of my doll hobby, I must say. He was very good about that. And actually his sister, which my sister-in-law at that time, she liked dolls too. So I kind of had her to chum around with, and we would talk about dolls, and we would buy each other dolls. But even then, that was like in the 90s and the early 2000s. Even at that time, there wasn't a lot of really realistic dolls. It was just like starting to get into the more like the reborn types, like in the early 2000s to the mid 2000s, and they were like unreachable. You didn't know how to get one at that time. And then so when I went through my divorce, I moved. I moved into an apartment, and it was a small apartment, so I couldn't keep all my dolls with me. So I did pack up quite a few of them and wrap them in blankets and put them in totes, and then had to put them into storage. And I did keep only a couple out, because there are some, you always have your favorites or whatever, or ones that were real breakable, I would keep out. And so at that time, when I was going through all that, I wasn't collecting. You know, it was like 2 or 3 years, and I wasn't even looking really at dolls. I was just trying to get, you know, life things. Life happens. You have to deal with things. So, and then after I got through that, and I purchased my house, my new home where I'm in now, I started finding these Reborn Life dolls, and it's just kind of taken off from there. I've gotten back into it. It's like another, you know, a whole nother part of collecting is collecting these really realistic type dolls. So I guess if I was to sum up this question, I would say it's been on and off. I collect, you know, for a while. I'm into it. I can, you know, not collect for a while, and maybe even put my dolls away for a little bit, but just keep a couple out. And that's kind of how it's always been, on and off. Collect a lot, get a lot, not do it for a while, then get back into it. So yeah. Okay, question number 3. What are your favorite features of Reborn dolls? Okay, my favorite features of Reborn dolls is, well, I guess I prefer, in my, talking about Reborn dolls, like in my collection, because I have a large collection of dolls. And my thing is, I like different kinds of dolls. So I know some people may like to collect like just one type of doll. And that's great. You know, you can do what you like. But for me, I like different facial expressions. I like getting dolls with different skin, you know, types, different, you know, ethnic looking dolls. I have a doll even with like a Down syndrome. I like dolls that are different kinds. That's my thing. Okay, and number 4, do you prefer vinyl or silicone dolls? Okay, I guess to honestly answer this question, I have mostly vinyl dolls in my collection. So I guess I prefer vinyl dolls, because that's what I have mostly in my collection. I only have one, and he's manufactured silicone doll in my collection. And to tell you the truth, to start with, I always thought that was my goal. That was like my dream doll. I wanted a really hyper realistic silicone doll, you know, those ones that cost like $5,000 or whatever. But getting to know how and what it takes to take care of those types of dolls, and how much I interact with mine, I've kind of changed my mind about that. And so I mainly stick with the vinyl. Now, if somebody wants to, you know, if I get a really good deal on one, or, you know, if I was to win one or something like that, you know, I'll take. I'm not going to say no, I don't want, you know, any type of doll. I love all dolls, but this is just like a preference, I think, is what she was stating. Like, what do you prefer? And so I do prefer, I think, vinyl over silicone. So number 5, do you prefer preemie, newborn, or larger size dolls? What size doll do you prefer? Well, at first I was more into the preemie and the newborn, because and the sleeping sculpts, because I like the realism, and I like to hold them and look at, and have them look like they were real when I was holding them. So it was the smaller dolls. But lately I've gotten a lot into the toddler dolls, and even the older, like I have one Amazon Masterpiece doll that I really like. So I don't know. I guess that changes. That also changes as time goes on. a couple years from now, I may not, it may switch. So I guess it just goes with what I'm into at the time. So okay, so there's the 5 questions. And Becca also had another question a couple weeks back, and I'm going to answer that too. And what her question was what would you do if your friends or relatives made you choose between them or your dolls? So, and I'll answer that here in a little bit. Wanted to show you that I got this doll. I don't know if I told you what her name is. Her name is Elaine, and I call her Lainey. So you have Elaine and Elon. And so she's all dressed for Are You Ready Friday. And she's so cute in her little outfit. So this last question, I've never had anybody say that I would ever have to choose between them or my dolls. Even when I was dating in high school, I had my dolls, and I remember even going out with friends or going to visit a friend, and I brought one of my dolls with me. I actually did. I was like, I don't know, I think I was like 16 at the time. And nobody said anything negative. Everybody thought she was cute, and nobody said anything. So I just can't imagine that somebody would tell me that. Now, I do know, I can tell when people don't like dolls. Either they'll make comments that they're creepy, or I can tell by their reaction. And I do have a couple relatives that I know they don't care for the dolls. So if they were to come over, if there was anybody that I know that would feel that way, I have a room where I keep my dolls, and so I'm real blessed to have that. So I would gather them all up, and I would just put them in that room then and close the door. But if it came to where they were to stay overnight and would have to be where the dolls were or whatever, I guess then they would have to make a choice, because I'm not going to get rid of something that I love, and it's not hurting anybody or anything. It's not causing any problems. So I'm gonna keep collecting. I'm gonna be happy. And my boyfriend now, he is very supportive of my hobby also, and he even comments on how much he sees how happy I am now that I've gotten back into the Reborn Light dolls, and that makes me happy to know that he's supportive of that too. So anyway, so there's all my answers to your questions, Becca, and I hope that some of you else out there will look up these questions and answer them also, because it's interesting to hear everybody's journey that they're taking in their doll collecting journey. So with that, I'm gonna stop this video. It's gone on probably way too long already. Let me bring on little Elon so you can see the two together. Okay, here's little Elaine and little Elon. Here they are. And I'm gonna say goodbye for now, and I hope that you all have a great Friday and a great weekend, and we will see you next week. And take care, and remember that happiness is a choice that we can make every single day. And I hope that you all are having a very great and wonderful Dolly Day today. And I love you, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye-bye for now.